have a computer here with stickers on it, but I left that at home, so we're free balling with the iPad.
Okay.
Welcome back to the 10 Lions Podcast. I'm your boy Jelani. This is episode 52. In this episode, we will be discussing 10 principal questions, Trump's big beautiful bill, Nelly and Ashanti, Drake ICEMAN Apple promo or album promo, Six God's fake six-pack, Diddy's deliberations, Ian's viral XXL freestyle, and more. So make sure you watch all the way until the end so you don't miss a single thing. Also subscribe, comment, like, and share. Introducing a very special guest, Miss Dr. Skorka is in the building. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you today?
I am alive.
You're alive. Yeah, you said that a few times.
I'm alive. I'm sweating.
Okay. Yeah, it's warm. It's July.
Yeah, enjoying the weather. Now, Miss Skorka, how we usually start our episodes is with words of wisdom. Do you have any words of wisdom for anyone that could be watching or could be watching in the future?
Sure. I always say you have to ask for what you want. You can hear no, but if you don't ask for what you want, you never have the possibility. So that's kind of my rule to live by. Ask for what you want.
Ask for what you want, and you can hear no. Say it again. Can you run it back?
Yeah. Ask for what you want, because if you don't ask, you'll never get an answer.
Okay.
And you could potentially get what you want if you verbalize it and put it out to the universe.
I like it. So sort of like closed mouths don't get fed type
Exactly.
situation.
Yeah. If you don't ask for it, you'll never know. So ask for what you want.
I like it. Ask for it to get what you want.
What are your wise words for today?
My wise words are: know who you are, and no one can tell you who you aren't.
Ah. See, we did a trade. I like that.
What do you mean?
You gave me some, I gave you some.
Oh,
we just did a trade.
I like it. I gotta thank you because so much of what I do depends on like my English and like just as far as like school subjects from high school that I like depend on is like the biggest one I can think of is like English. Like I make a to-do list every day or whatever. I like contribute that to taking notes and whatnot. Have to like have different talks and meetings with people and whatnot. So it's just like as my former English teacher, just like I don't know. I feel like it's important to note that as an adult, English is a big factor in what I do in life. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate having you as a teacher and now having you on the podcast.
It's so nice to hear that. I think a lot of times we don't realize how we're using the skills in high school until later. But some of school, regardless of what subject it is, it's just about habits and routines. Like, how do you manage your busy schedule? How do you stay strategic with like future planning? What are your goals? We try to teach that regardless what subject, but it was a pleasure to have you as a student, and now it's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Let's go. We love a full circle moment.
Yes.
Another thing that we usually do after the words of wisdom is marketing plug. Is there anything that you would like to market, like besides being that you're the Kingston High School principal?
Not marketing like air conditioning. I'm a fan of air conditioning.
Are you a fan of air conditioning?
I am a fan of air conditioning. What do I want to market?
Like, do you do anything outside of being a principal?
I teach cycle class. I teach a spin class.
Oh
yes,
my God.
Yes, I'm taking a little break right now, but
that's something to market. It's a marketing plug.
But IXL Rhinebeck 5:30 p.m.
Oh
Wednesdays.
My God. Rhinebeck or Saugerties?
Rhinebeck.
So there's two XL.
Yeah,
gyms?
IXLs.
Okay.
I sub in the Saugerties one sometimes, but yeah, I teach cycle class.
Oh my God, I might have to go there with like a headband and some shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, let's go.
So I do that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I do that.
Wow.
I love that, actually.
That's very cool. How long do you think you're gonna take off? Since we have our first pregnant guest.
Oh my gosh.
For the podcast.
Wow. I'm supposed to take 6 weeks off from when I give birth. So I'm gonna try to get back in September.
Oh my goodness! So you're not even like taking like the September off? It's
For cycle? No, for cycle. No, I like to exercise. I'll get right back to it as soon as I can.
Your snapback is gonna be one for the books. Speaking of,
yes.
Be right back. Okay. Oh my goodness, my day has been all over the place, but I got to this.
Oh my gosh, how cute is this?
For you.
Oh.
Just know I'm a guy.
Oh my God, this looks amazing.
The only thing pink is the bag.
That's okay. Oh my God, and it's lion themed.
Yeah,
I love this.
She'll grow into it.
I need bigger clothes. I love this.
Right, it's got a lion,
Thank
a tiger,
you.
bear on mine.
Oh, perfect. I love these.
Very cool.
I wish I had. I have to get an adult one so I match.
Look at that.
Thank you.
So funny. I got my son one. So
yeah.
They'll be matching.
And I'm honored to be the first pregnant guest.
There you go. We should have got you. Next time I have a sash for you and everything.
It's all right. I'll bring my own.
There you go. Very cool. All right. So the first thing we got to get into is the 10 principal questions.
Okay.
So once again, these questions are here, there, and everywhere. So feel free.
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. So the first one.
Okay.
A little out there.
All right.
So just feel free to plead the fifth if you'd like.
Okay.
All right. Miss Skorka, Dr. Skorka.
Yes.
Have you ever been hit on by a student?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But you need to keep in mind, right, that I most of the time am dealing with, and this is a long time ago, not in a long time, I should preface with that.
Okay.
Not in a long time. But you have to realize that you've got adolescent kids.
Yeah, hormones
right?
raging.
And they think things are funny, so sometimes they're trying to push the limit in the line a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes is the answer, but it stopped quickly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's get right to number 2. What inspired you to pursue a career in education and eventually become a principal?
Wow. All right. So I went to school originally for broadcast journalism.
Okay.
Right. So I wanted to be a news anchor.
Okay.
I wanted to be an investigative at the desk, trailing stories all over the world. And at some point I realized I didn't want to live my life by the news and like pick up and go chase a story. And I was always someone who was proofreading my friends' papers and essays in college. So I kind of got into this idea of knowledge is power, literacy is power. The better you communicate, the more options you have. And I thought I actually wanted to teach college, but I had an amazing professor that was like, if you want to make a real impact, go to a high school. And so I came home from college. I did my 1-year program at Bard. I student taught at Kingston High School. And then I was there for 10 years as a teacher. But what kept happening to me, Jelani, is that I kept running into these things where I would have an idea, but then I could only do it in my classroom. And I would want to do it bigger than the classroom. Like I kept saying, the school should do this, the school should do this. And I had a fabulous mentor, Miss Deborah Fitzgerald, principal now at Bailey, who every time I would go to her with one of my ideas, she'd go, you should go to school to be an administrator. And so I took Deb's advice. I went to school. I became an assistant principal first at the high school. And then lo and behold, something similar started to happen where after a little while, 2 years, 3 years, I started to say, I want to do something more school-wide, or I want to do something bigger. And so I went back to school yet again for my doctorate, even though I'm Dr. Miss Skorka to you. And I love being a principal. I feel like it's one of my greatest honors.
Look at that.
Yeah.
What a nice story. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like I told you when we first met regarding the mural that like how proud I was of you. Obviously, I'm like as a student, I don't know how much that weight carries, but
it does, absolutely.
But cool. Like I think that's super dope, super incredible. Did you ever face doubts from others in your pursuit to become principal?
Sure. I mean, I think that your biggest doubter is always yourself, right?
Okay.
The idea of imposter syndrome and can I do this and do I have what it takes?
Of course.
But besides that, there's always people that are going to have preconceived notions about you, and you have to rise above and stay true to yourself and work for the greater good. And at the end of the day, I always felt like Kingston was a community and a place I really cared about. Before I was here, I was having lunch with some friends, and I was saying I closed out on my 17th year. And I was like, That's insane that I've been at Kingston High School for 17 years. So it feels like home, and working for the school and being there, hopefully through time, I've proven myself to people. But most importantly, every day I prove to myself that I can do it.
Oh, wow, beautifully said. You can tell she was an English teacher. That's great. I love to hear it. And I feel like I even heard some more words of wisdom in there where you were saying that you have to like do it for yourself. You have to like you're your own biggest. Sometimes it can be your own biggest doubter or whatnot. And, like you're showing up for yourself more than showing up for others. There's always going to be someone like a naysayer or a doubter or whatnot. So, but most importantly, you're doing it for yourself. So,
you are the most important relationship you have in your life.
You and God.
It's the one you have. True.
I like it. If you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, make sure that you comment any questions or opinions or takes, and we will be responding to you in real time. Next question. What's one moment during your time at the school that you'll never forget?
I need a subcategory here. Are we talking about funny? Are we talking about...
Let's go funny.
Funny? There was one particular time where we were live on KHS TV, and I was in charge of picking which staff member would get the parking spot of the week. And Kingston High School notoriously has not enough parking.
Okay.
And so where the staff parking lot is, the staff parking lot spot was not a particularly good one nor convenient for me, but I picked myself. And I was so excited that I picked myself.
You chose yourself?
Yeah, like out of the raffle, like of all the different staff members. And so I got to park there for a week. And it wasn't convenient at all, but I was just so excited that I picked my own name out of the
I'm confused.
hat.
Because that was when you were a principal at the time.
No, I was a teacher.
Oh, I was like, the principal got their own
Now, I
spot,
do
right?
have my own spot now,
Gotcha.
but back in the day when I was parking in the general population, I picked myself, and I was so excited. And I think people thought it was funny how excited I got for just picking myself in the parking raffle.
Do you remember, like, it's probably hard, but do you remember what year that was? 'Cause I feel like I was there.
It could have been.
That sounds so familiar.
I do distinctly remember, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but I had you 8th period, and we had a sequence of Fridays where we kept having smoke alarms go off 8th period, and every time it would happen, it would be like the end of class, because on a Friday when they would be 20 minutes in and there'd be a fire alarm and you'd have to evacuate, like there was no coming back from that.
Yeah.
And I just remember after the 3rd or 4th one, I was like, oh my God, why do we keep having this? And I had like a little mini temper tantrum in your class.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's because
It's believable.
It's because you weren't principal yet.
No.
It would never happen under your administration.
No, you got to keep those emotions under wraps.
Very cool. The next question is, how did the school change the most with you being principal?
That might be a better question asked of
Somebody
someone who's in the school.
Right.
But what I'd say is I'm a big believer in saying yes. So I feel like when people come to me with ideas that they want to pursue, I'm all about giving people the autonomy to do that. So like this year we had a pep rally because students wanted to do one. Or we started doing something called Tiger Games because the students wanted to do that. So I feel like...
What was Tiger Games, like the Olympics?
Yeah, a little bit like different relay races, similar to field day for elementary schools.
That's cool.
So I just feel like saying yes has, given us more options that the students want.
I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I can relate, or I can attest to that, because once I came to you with the mural idea, you were like one of the first ones to be on board. So
Yeah, just...
you're all about it.
If it improves the school, say yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge you faced leading a school full of teenagers?
Well, similar to what you were actually starting the podcast off with, when you were talking about when you're in English class and you don't necessarily realize what you're learning is helpful.
Yeah.
So students don't like rules.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times
They
where...
can be a drag.
Right. We have to do something because it's safe for the school or it makes sense for the school, and students don't like that. So sometimes I think, and again, it's all schools all over the country, but students don't always like rules, and I think I can relate to that sometimes.
Now, one thing I do hear from the few times that I do speak to teachers that I used to have is that kids have gotten worse over time. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like it's a standard and average?
Kids are different, right? Because I think the students that we deal with now, with cell phones and exposure and knowledge and having things right at their fingertips, there's an expectation of things happening immediately. Because I can go on Amazon and I can order something and it can be at my doorstep tomorrow. And that's not how humans work.
Gotcha.
So I think like some of the people that have been in the field a long time are just noticing that there's an expectancy and an expediency that kids want more quicker.
Is that entitlement?
I think so.
Okay.
But I do think that there's plenty of great kids that are out there that are not entitled, and that I think a lot of it has to do with sports and parents and faith and good habits. So I think it's just about really how children are raised.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Did you have a personal mission or core value you tried to instill in the school community?
Be kind. I mean, at the end of the day, you can say something that has the same meaning in a kinder way. So I always try to take the kinder road, because you can still make progress, you can still make things happen, but you can do it in a way where you're not leaving someone hurt. And the other thing is, explain your why.
Yeah.
If you give the why in a decision-making process, people are so much more likely to follow you and understand you than if you just explain what you're doing.
That makes sense. I like that. What's something you wish more students understood about the role of a principal?
That you answer to a lot of people. That it's not just students. Yes, I work for the students, but I work for the teachers and the TAs and the custodians and the taxpayers and my Board of Education and my district administrators and my parents and literally the school community. So when you make a decision, you have to look at how each stakeholder is impacted, and it's the end user is the student and perhaps the most important one, but you always have to consider all these other populations besides.
So you said that you work for the teachers. You don't feel like the teachers don't work for the principal?
Correct. I think that the teachers, in a degree, work for the school district, and I represent the school district, but I see myself really trying to make the teachers' jobs easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that perspective. Very cool. I don't think most people would know that.
I think it's a
way.
different mindset, right? Because it's like some people say, "Hey, boss," and I don't like to think of myself as a boss. I like to think of myself as a leader, and so I think that there's give and take, because I need the teachers to do things for me, and so if I can do something to make their job easier, I want to do that too.
I like it. Sounds like a good leader to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How did you handle balancing discipline with building genuine relationships with your students?
Well, as we said, rules are rules. So sometimes students know what the consequence is when they break a rule, and you just have to have honest conversations. And sometimes that's also just doing your best to communicate in advance and saying, I always used to say that to students, like, I don't like calling home and saying that you have in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension. Like, that's not a fun phone call for me to make. So if there's something that the school can do to prevent you from doing X, Y, Z to get yourself in that situation, please let me know. Right. So like, you forgot your privilege card that day, or you don't have permission to go off campus, but you forgot your lunch. Come see me, so you're not going off campus and then getting in school suspension. So like, let's try to problem solve together.
Right.
That way, even if you make the bad decision, I tried to help you in advance.
Exactly.
So
try to work with them.
Most of the time. I mean, doesn't mean that students aren't I mean, they don't love when they get in trouble, quote unquote, but life is about learning actions, consequences, and decision making. So it's part of the process. And I'd be lying if I'd say I followed every single rule growing up. I had to learn some things the hard way too.
Right. Growing pains. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you like being a principal more than you like being a teacher?
They're very different. I am so grateful for my 10 years in the classroom because I think they shaped the way I view education, and I'll forever treasure those memories. I feel like it's a different job. Sometimes I think being a teacher is harder because you have more students under your direct care. But I think that what I love about being a principal is that no day is the same, and you really get to shape culture. And I love that part of my job.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you come up with all these questions yourself?
Yeah.
These are good.
Thanks.
These are good questions.
It's not my first day on the job.
No, clearly not.
Who were some standout students, no names needed, that made a lasting impression on you, and why?
I think I remember classes the best, and I can say that my second year teaching, I had 2 groups of 11th graders that gave me a run for my money because, again, here I was 26 years old and they were 17 and 18.
Yeah.
And we had work to do, but I feel like I had some growing pains with them where, similar to what we were talking about with discipline, where like I would give them a chapter to read for homework. They didn't read it. It was like, all right, what are we gonna do now? And so I had to start giving them reading quizzes, and I didn't like doing that either. But it was just kind of like it forced me to be an adult. Like I was an adult, but that really challenged me as far as like, oh, I have to step up. I'm their teacher. Like I have a responsibility to these people. So those classes stand out to me. And then later on in my career, I had some senior electives, public speaking, women across time. And again, I think the older population was really interesting because some of them I'd had as 9th graders. So to watch them grow up and change and then just become mini adults going out to the world with opinions and dreams and goals was super cool to see. But I guess I would say that in general, one of my favorite things about being in a high school is that you get to track students and their progression. So even if you don't have them as students again, when you get to see them in the hall, or they come back to find you to sign your yearbook, or like they shoot up over the summer and suddenly they're 2 feet taller than you, I think that getting to see what you've sown over the years is just like one of the greatest gifts. And by staying in Kingston for 17 years, I can absolutely say that I get to reap some of that every day by just going to the store and bumping into someone that I had 7 or 8 years ago. And I can say for sure that I recognize all my students all the time. I'm like, I had you, and I can usually come up with their name. And I think that that's just a really special gift that you get with teaching that you don't in another career.
Yeah, that's super impressive. I have to say that like it's so super awesome to hear how your perspective on teaching and your relationships with students and whatnot, because I feel like that's truly not the case for all educators. Like I feel like there are some teachers, none that I'm thinking of in Kingston High School like currently, that just like almost seem like they hate their jobs or don't like children or whatever. So like to hear how you talk about them, it's honestly funny because I've had a therapist on here, and we talked about how there are some therapists that are good therapists, and there are some that have different routes or whatever, like have different experiences with therapy and whatnot. I feel like that's similar with teaching.
Yeah, I think that some teachers can really get bogged down by some of the things that get in the way of them in the classroom, like emails and rules and teaching to this standard, and now you have to give this test. It takes some of the art out of teaching, and I think that can jade some people.
It makes sense. Well, I'm glad it hasn't jaded you.
Not so far.
Devontae Morgan said, "Is that Miss Skorka?" I don't. Do you know Devontae Morgan?
No.
Well, Devontae, yes, this is Miss Skorka. You can feel free to say hey or ask a question or anything. He knows you.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Getting through to the last questions. Looking back, what would you say to your younger self when you first started at the school?
Looking back, earlier, before we started this officially, we were talking about having tough skin, thick skin.
Right.
And I think earlier on, I should have learned not to take certain things personally. Because, again, right, adolescents, they've got hormones, they've got rage, they've got anger, they've got goals that are not possible, and they're realizing that for the first time, and roadblocks and all this stuff. And, like, if they're not doing homework for you, it rarely has anything to do with you. And I think just trying to realize not to take things personally all the time.
Have you ever thought about writing a book? I feel like you should write a little book on like teaching and whatnot.
I've thought about writing a book.
But on educating or just in general?
I've had different topic ideas for a book.
Okay, I think you should, especially as a principal. Like, there's no way it's not gonna like do what a book like selling should do. And then you're a spin coach and whatnot.
Right.
You got the audience. It's right there in front of you.
Thank you.
And you got students that have graduated.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's good advice. It's good advice for everyone, though, right? Like, it's not about you. Don't take it personally.
Right.
I wish I could yell that to my 26-year-old self.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Honorable mention. How does it feel to see former students now grown up and creating impact in their own way? I think you touched on that.
That's the best part. That is absolutely the best part. And, you know, I think having impact also, like you, for example, you're back in your community, you're painting, you're helping the youth, but then there's so many other students that they're working at the bank, they're working at the liquor store, they're going back to school now for something. You know, I'm Facebook friends with a couple former students, like someone just graduated from a doctor program.
Right.
Like, I think
anything positive is a good
yeah, thing. I think that finding success, whatever that looks like for people, makes me so happy because I can think back to those little humans in 9th grade and think back to whether we were reading The Miracle Worker or Romeo and Juliet or The Odyssey or Persepolis or some of these books or these situations where, again, there were just funny things that happened in class that I associate with them that I might not actively think about, but then when I bump into them, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'll think of that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like the same can be said in reverse. Like, I obviously can actively think of you as my English teacher. So the fact that you have become not just an AP, but the principal of Kingston High School is like just such a dope thing to think about, or like to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just like transformation, right? People have different chapters. So at the same time that students are growing up and finding themselves, so am I.
And you're going into your Violet chapter.
Violet chapter.
That is exciting. I am going to trade mics with you because yours just went off.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm saying.
Makeup brushes.
Next time.
It's the joys of having a live show, too.
Yeah, the joys. All right, so we got through our 10 principal questions successfully. We didn't have you walk off or anything. That is just great for me.
I'm so surprised you've had that happen.
It's only happened once.
Oopsie.
Oh, oopsie is right.
See.
It's only happened once, and hopefully it won't happen again.
All right,
I've seen some people.
watch.
I've seen some people have drinks thrown on them and
Oh my goodness.
break out into fights. So thankfully, we haven't gone that far.
Not that today.
Not today.
Okay. We're in business.
We're in business. So this episode is definitely jam packed because it's calm, it's funny, and then it's not so funny. The next topic is Trump's big, beautiful bill. Do we have any thoughts, like any just pre-notions on AKA beautiful bill, quote unquote?
I mean, I have major concerns for the population in which I serve. If you look at the income of the people most affected by this, and food stamps and Medicaid, that's a lot of Kingston. So I have concerns. I have concerns about medical care and people not getting access to food and necessary health services and therapy, and that makes me nervous.
Makes you concerned.
Yeah. What about you? What are your thoughts?
So I have concerned. I don't know if concerned is the word. It's honestly funny because I see different people like within like the Black community and whatnot, say that we told it this was going to happen. Now obviously that's not just limited to the Black community, but Democrats or whatever different communities and whatnot. So it's like I'm less concerned that I am not surprised. So at this point, it's just a matter of, for lack of a better word, survival, because this is all happening at a very rapid pace, and it hasn't even been a complete year yet.
Right.
So, and that's not touching on the alligator Alcatraz or all how the deportation is like reaching different heights. It's not just criminals, quote unquote. It's not just illegal immigrants. It's like different people that there's first birthright citizenship, or whatever the correct term is. And it's just going at a very rapid pace. And if this is not even within a year, who knows what a year would be like, or 2 years would be like, 3 years would be like, and whatnot. So it's like, and I heard that the so-called beautiful bill is like 1,000 pages long. So the things that I've seen so far that are within it, like the taking away of Medicaid and all those Social Security and different things of that nature, like those are only a few things. 1,000 pages is a lot of pages. So like I'm I guess you could say obviously concerned for what else lies in the bill that hasn't even come to surface yet and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of the news sources have done a good job in highlighting the most important parts.
Gotcha.
But you're exactly right. I mean, when they're taking thousands of pages or 1,000 pages and they're giving you bulleted, they're giving you a summary. Now, that's not everything, but per topic, I mean, I think I'm, like I said, concerned that people that are some of the neediest are getting even less, and some people that don't necessarily need those tax breaks are going to be getting back money and not having to pay as much toward social services. And that just, what does that look like? And you're exactly right, we're 7 months in, and it's just scary of where else we'll go. And you're right, all of those other topics you just mentioned and how much money the military is getting in this bill. Just there's a lot going on that remains to be seen for the remaining 3 years and 5 months.
There is definitely a lot. So I have a couple of clips, usually for each topic. I have clips to accompany them just to give a better sense of the topic and whatnot. Yep. So I'm just going to pass you this. This is a guy named Dean Withers. He's constantly debating either Trump supporters or Republicans of that nature, like why they voted for Trump. And 9 times out of 10, he kind of like makes them out themselves to be either a bad person or them to not really make sense, if that makes sense. Here is my boy Dean.
Okay, the Republican Senate just passed one of the worst bills in American history. You should watch this video because it'll impact the rest of your life. Donald Trump's big beautiful bill is so bad that it is on track to be the most expensive bill in American history, adding $4 trillion to our debt. This has caused 2 Republican congressmen to step down. And Elon Musk, Donald Trump's old right-hand man, has responded by calling the BBB utterly insane and destructive. And if you are in college on student aid or planning to go to college on student aid, well, there's a big possibility that you will be saying goodbye to a significant portion of that. This bill intends to revoke the Pell Grant for around 2/3 of recipients. It also plans to completely eliminate student aid for graduate students. It also looks like this bill is going to be taking away healthcare from 17 million Americans while defunding hospitals in rural areas in this country. Because of this, 340 hospitals in these rural areas are expected to be at a risk of closure. And if you don't completely lose access to healthcare because of the big beautiful bill, healthcare premiums for middle-class Americans are expected to increase by $26,000 per year. And unfortunately, that's not all. It's also expected to cut food benefits by 30%. Because of these cuts, 11 million low-income Americans will be at risk for losing some or all of their food benefits. And I'm still not done, because the BBB is also expected to cut the production of renewable energy resources in America by upwards of 72%. This is not only setting America up for certain future failure, but it's also expected to raise the costs of energy for the average American household by $400 per year. For all of these reasons and more, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities tells us that 80% of Americans will be significantly hurt because of this bill. And if you find yourself asking, well, who is it supposed to help? The top 1% of income earners in this country are expected to take home additional hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, and the tax cuts designed for them implemented in the BBB. I'm going to be blunt. This bill is a malicious weapon strategically designed to help the most wealthy among us via a redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich, from the average American to the rich. Okay, the Republican Senate just passed one of the worst bills.
That was it.
That was it. Thoughts?
There was nothing on there that we didn't say.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much right. The fact is, it's going to be middle America, lower class America that are struggling, that are going to continue to struggle. We didn't talk about the student loan piece, but it's hard to find positive when you're really supporting the 1%.
See, now, and it's funny because up until now, I would get into the most either heated debates or arguments with people as to why they voted for Donald Trump or support Donald Trump or whatever the case is, and it's hard to grasp what the sense in it when this is now the present. You know what I mean? This was all part of, or I hear was a part of Project 2025 and whatnot. So it's just why do you think that people still support Donald Trump if they don't fall into these categories that are benefiting from his presidency?
I think that people like the idea of making America great, and this whole make America great again, especially if they've been struggling. It's a nice sound bite, but are Americans reading the fine print? Do they know what that means? Do they know what would be cut in order for things to be great? And I think what makes America great is our diversity and taking care of our neighbors and providing opportunities. So I just think people got misled by slogans or promises and didn't look at fine print or didn't ask the right questions or do the right research. And unfortunately, even if you're a strategist, there were people that did not feel that the Democrats put up a strong enough candidate to beat Donald Trump. So I don't know if some of America voted for Trump because they just didn't like the Democratic candidate, or the fact that they felt like when Biden stepped down, there wasn't enough time to get positive momentum behind Kamala. I don't really know. I can't speak for why people would have voted, except I can say that I do think that the Democrats need to really look at their constituents and see what they need to do to have a candidate ready in the next election to potentially put up a closer fight.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. It's funny because Bernie Sanders, I want to say it was 21 years ago, had this to say about. It kind of predicted Donald Trump. So if you want to see this clip real fast, here it is.
Trump won the presidency this year. Here's a video of Bernie Sanders 21 years ago explaining how the Republicans win, even though no one likes their actual policies.
If you are the Republican leadership, and this is what your goals are, your goals are to give huge tax breaks to the very richest people in this country. Your goals are ultimately to privatize Social Security so that Wall Street can make money from that. Privatize Medicare so the insurance companies can make more money. Privatize education. Do away with public schools. Now, if you had an agenda like that and you went before the American people, tax breaks for the rich, destruction of Medicare, destruction of Social Security as we know it, lowering the minimum wage or abolishing it, how many votes do you think you'd get? Not a whole lot. Maybe the richest 1% would vote for you. But that's not a lot of votes. So what do? Got a problem. You package it. How do you package it? And here I want you to pay attention to me. This is bad stuff. What you do is divide people up. You divide people up by races. Affirmative action becomes one issue. All them black people are getting the jobs that we white people used to have. Split people, working class, white against black. Instead of working together to create decent jobs for all. Those uppity women now, they want the right to choose. We'll split people on the abortion issue. We'll split people up on the gun issue. We'll split people up on religious issues. You follow what I'm saying? So you split people up, and then they end up, if you're a middle-class person, voting against your own interests, and the rich go laughing all the way to the bank.
How Trump won the presidency
So now,
this year.
that was in
Bernie Sanders
2004. Do you think that was valid or a bunch of poppycock?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what we see happening, right? I mean, I think it's incredible that 21 years ago he was able to say that, but I think we're watching that play out, is that people are more divided now than they've ever been. They can't agree on these topics, so they become polarized in their camp, and then therefore they actually can't even seem to have healthy conversation about it. They just don't like each other, don't talk to each other, pretend the other doesn't exist, and then you just get all these different camps on all sorts of topics, and there's no majority.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we continue to see how things unfold. Well, there is some people that are saying that, like, the Senate, the House, the Congress is the government officials only make up about 500 people. So it says in it I've heard that it says within the Constitution that we can overthrow the government. I don't know how, like, radical or realistic that is.
People need to get out and vote in the midterm elections is what it comes down to.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, your point is, if these are the decision makers, who votes for those people? And the truth is if you look at election statistics, people do not vote. It's time to start voting. It's time to start going to the polls, especially at midterm elections, when you're voting for your House representatives. And, you know, I don't know where we are in the New York cycle, but I mean, for senators every 6 years, like, people need to pay attention for when people are up for re-election, and they need to go vote.
I agree. It makes sense to me. I voted. Did you?
I did vote.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
You can't You can't be saying people need to go vote and not
Right. But a lot of people don't vote.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was seeing. A lot of people in Kingston that I was talking to was like, "Did you vote?" No, but then like it was so back to back that it was just like, "Oh, you're a part of the problem then." Like, if you're not voting, you really don't. Not that you shouldn't have a say, but it's like you're taking away your say.
Some of the people around here or in New York say my vote doesn't matter
Right.
because New York is already going to be a blue state, or this is, and to a degree that's true, but that's why it's even more important to pay attention to the local elections and the House elections. Like, those really matter. You need to know what issues are affecting your community.
I like it. Well, I think we spent enough time on Trump and the BBB and whatnot. We have like a more lighthearted topic.
Okay.
Nelly and Ashanti.
Okay.
And you, what's it called? You said that you are a big.
I saw Nelly. He opened for Janet Jackson last summer.
I saw him.
I saw him perform.
You were there. You were like an attendee. Like.
Yeah, I saw Janet Jackson last year, and he opened for her.
How was that?
Janet Jackson was fabulous. Nelly was okay.
I would have thought it'd be the other way around because Janet's up there. Janet's like.
Oh, Janet's got it, man.
She still got it?
She's got it.
Okay,
Oh, wardrobe changes. She's got it. But Nelly did a good job.
Okay, are you a fan of Nelly before the show?
Yeah. I mean, he was when I was in high school. That's when it was kind of his heyday.
Right.
His Hot in Here, his Band-Aid, his Air Force Ones. That was.
Can't forget the Band-Aid. Well, now him and Ashanti have a child, and they're going through new parenthood woes. Have you heard anything?
Not about their parenthood woes. I think I heard that he'd gotten pulled over not long ago with drugs, but.
Well, let's stick on to the parenthood woes. Here's a clip for you.
Well, listen, it's all you. I ain't even lie. You know, I ain't got nothing for him.
Absolutely not, I know.
Until he can say, I'm hungry. Until he can say, I need to use the bathroom. It's going to be a lot easier than that. But as soon as he started walking, I said, enjoy it. Because as soon as he gets to walking and talking, he with the crew.
I'm trying to understand how is it that you just sleep through when he starts crying?
Do y'all be up at night? I heard about it.
You know what? It's absolutely ridiculous that you'll still be dead asleep and he'll be mad loud.
But I don't even hear y'all.
That's ridiculous.
You know? It's a gift, I guess.
Why is that a gift?
I'm blessed with that.
No. That means get up. It's your turn to change him.
I'm going to take you back to this conversation we had before you kicked me under the table. I said, baby, I give you the world. I just ain't changing. Not.
Oh, my God.
What are our thoughts on this Miss Dr. Scorpio?
I'm honestly surprised that they don't have someone helping them with the child.
That's true.
That's shocking to me. I mean, I love that they're not because I just had a conversation recently with my husband, and we know a couple that is paying or paid a really pretty penny to have a night nurse. And I said, I don't want to do that. I want to have that bonding time, but there is a market for it and people pay, and they certainly have enough money.
Yeah,
one would think that they could do that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I do think it's wise, if possible, because it's not always possible to have a planned baby, but to have conversations about what your strategy is going to be like with tackling some of those things, because parenting is not for everyone, and some people like being the fun parent or the one that doesn't have to do the diapers or doesn't have to do the discipline or doesn't have to do like the temper tantrums, but there's some gross parts of parenting and some sleep deprived parts, and you gotta take it as a team.
Right. As long as at least you're prepared for it. Like.
Did you get up in the middle of the night?
Oh, I definitely wasn't like just sleeping through it.
Right.
Well, I wasn't sleeping through it. It was with my son. Him and his mother were very like super attached. So he was really a lot of times just attached to like breastfeeding and whatnot. So that's obviously out of my hands and whatnot. But other than that, his biggest thing is that he's on top of not waking up in the middle of the night. He's not doing diaper changing. Like diaper changing is not just in the night. That's in the night, in the day, and all throughout the day and whatnot. So, and that's definitely like a big part of parenthood before they're able to be potty trained and whatnot. So, could you handle? What would you do could you handle being in Ashanti's shoes?
No. I would not tolerate that well at all, because I also think
honesty.
In addition to him saying, I'm not doing that, he's not thanking her that she is. Right? Like, there's a gratitude piece, because let's be honest here. I'll use myself as an example.
Go ahead.
Okay? My husband loves to cook. So I don't cook.
Gotcha.
I could.
Me either.
I
Give me some.
can. Okay, I could. I can. But as a result of that, when he makes something, I'm like, thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Thanks for always
Of
having
course.
dinner ready. Like, I'll do the dishes. Or, like, there's ways that I can show appreciation because I'm not cooking.
Right.
But then there has to be some part of the relationship that I'm doing that he doesn't want to do.
Right.
So, like, he doesn't really like emptying the dishwasher. I don't mind it. So that's one way that I can say thank you. In that clip, Nelly just seems like he wants nothing to do with any part of the child process, but also he's not like, thank you for waking up.
Right.
Thank you for letting me sleep.
Right. Well, he does say when the child is able to say that he's hungry, and then it's a different conversation. And then once he's potty trained, another different conversation.
We'll see. I think if that's your attitude going in, you might change your tune by the time it's that time too.
I wonder if this is his first kid, because like he's up there, and like I think this is Ashanti. I don't even know if it's Ashanti's first kid. Maybe I'll look it up. But yeah, very very interesting. I never even thought about it from the perspective that they could have a nanny and like not even have these.
I'm
these
really
problems.
surprised that they're even battling it out, because one would think with that much money that they would have someone taking care
But
of their
Ashanti
children.
Ashanti, like you, probably wants that attachment.
Yeah,
and
no,
whatnot.
there's a good rationale for doing it, but that doesn't mean that they can't.
I get that.
Especially if it's causing friction. That would be a good compromise. But
Yeah, Nelly has 5 kids. So
wow. So he's not new to this, but
yeah, this is not his first rodeo. But
maybe it's his first co-parenting rodeo.
maybe this is his routine. Maybe
Yeah.
he didn't have this problem.
That's possible.
Everyone else knew. That's funny. I when I looked at the comments, it was said that Ashanti, quote unquote, knew what she was getting into, but like embraced it like happily or whatever, so people don't feel bad necessarily. So maybe there's that part too.
Maybe up front he said he didn't want, like he's saying, I told you I wasn't going to do X, Y, Z.
And maybe she didn't believe it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But at the end of the day, like I said, there's still a way to show appreciation to your partner if they're the one stepping up to do something.
Absolutely.
Right? Name the game in relationships, compromise.
Compromise, not even pulling your own weight. I think that, what do you think about the 50-50 rule? Do you think relationships are 50-50, or do you think it's like a 70-20, 70-30, 80-20?
Okay, so to quote my lovely husband Alan, he would tell you that you have to be prepared in a relationship for it sometimes to be 100-0, depending on where the other person is. Okay. So like most of the time 50-50, but there's a fluctuating scale that can happen. So you have to be fully prepared at times, even if you don't have it in you to be the 90, to be the 100, to take some of that weight off the other person when they're down and out.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Especially like in like marriage.
Yeah.
Till death do you part.
You do the best you can with that, yeah.
Alright, so I think that's enough of Nelly and Ashanti. How do you feel about Drake?
Love me some Drake. I like Drake.
That was so funny. I was not expecting that.
I love Drake.
That's good.
But I don't think that he's the best lyricist. I think he can make a hit. Mm-hmm. I like his music. I use a lot of his music in my cycle classes.
Okay.
But I think that there are better lyricists out there.
Such as?
Oh, I mean, depends what era you want to go to. Like, all-time favorite for me, I love Nas. Okay. I love Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt.
Okay.
Like in the Kendrick Drake battle, like again, Kendrick's rhymes are superior, but Drake makes better hits, in my opinion.
I think that was a very valid opinion. You're from New York, right?
I am.
Those are very New York rapper.
Yeah, but answers. I mean, I like Tribe.
Gonna have to come up with a Yankees fit it next time.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very
Q-Tip, like they're yeah.
Very good. So that you know the lore with Drake and Kendrick and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Drake is dropping a new album allegedly called ICEMAN, and on said one of his songs. I don't know if it's out yet or if it was a snippet that was dropped. Whatever. I think it's out. Some lyrics that he said was, "You switched on the guys and supported a hater." People are speculating that it's about Kendrick. And then obviously guys that supported Kendrick through the Kendrick and Drake beef. Another lyric is, "I saw bro at the pop out with them, but he was wave riding them since he was wave riding gang since headlines." How do you feel about Drake still talking about Kendrick and that whole rap beef a year later, especially after losing the beef?
I just think that it's time to, in general, move on to different things. I don't mean to cut you off.
Did you like, I don't know if you heard it, his album he dropped with Party Next Door? Did you listen to it?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is I feel like Drake's better hits happened way in the past.
I was about to ask you, do you like old Drake versus new
Yes.
Drake? Yes.
Yes. Old Drake. I don't think he's really put out too much great stuff. Like, I like Started From the Bottom. I like Energy. I like Nice for What. I mean, so yeah, I'm talking back to 2010, 2011. Like, it's a while.
Nice for What was a little bit more newer, but
it was.
That
was like 2017, 2018.
But I get what you're saying. It's unfortunate because Drake was my favorite rapper. However, I think Kendrick really did not even necessarily a number on him. He did a number on him, but it's some people negate the Kendrick and Drake beef because they feel like, oh, he didn't end his career. Like, he obviously didn't end his career because Drake is like the Beyonce or whatever of rap and whatnot. He's like, someone can't really end his career, but he definitely exposed and showed his true colors with the rap. Like, I feel like Kendrick pointed out so many different flaws that Drake not only shows in the past but emphasized afterward. Just like with his different insecurities or his tendency to put himself next to certain people, especially like a Sexy Red. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Just different, and just having different, quote, for lack of better words, like diva-like behavior and whatnot. With the different ways that Drake has responded, not even just like directly but indirectly with dropping an EP or an R&B album, and now with a new album and whatnot, it almost seems like, and with the different like things he does on social media, but it almost seems like Drake is spiraling, for lack of better words, and whatnot. And it's unfortunate, as someone who was a big fan of his, I feel like, and I think that you could attest to this, I feel like his earlier music was his more mature music, and now he's going backwards, which again kind of points to spiraling. He's about to be 40, and I think that most people think that he's having like a midlife crisis. Probably not literally, but kind of shows signs of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly right. Like, Kendrick called him out for sort of being black when it was convenient, and then otherwise pandering to sort of this different audience.
Look at you, Miss Gorka. The fact that you got like a hip hop know-how knowledge is just tickling my fancy. I like it.
All right. So I think you're right. Like, everyone looks at him in a different way. So it didn't make him less popular. It's just, I think people are a little bit more skeptical. And then there was all these questions for years, though, about like, does he have ghostwriters? Is he writing his own stuff? And so there's just been all these questions that I think people are more willing to entertain and speculate now instead of just trusting Drake as an artist. And at the end of the day, he's going to make millions of dollars. He's going to sell out tours. But as far as a fan base is concerned, you're exactly right. Like, the people that have always been loyal will stay loyal, but I just think that they're looking at him a little differently.
I think so too. And can't forget him suing the record label because of Kendrick's diss and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I got a clip.
Okay, of course you do.
Always got the clip, so you go.
Drake just had the funniest stream of all time. Before he played his new music, He started off just doing random tasks as the Iceman by measuring ice and walking around the ice factory. But then things got interesting. He walked into the break room, made some lunch, and then the first song he wanted to tease, called What Did I Miss, started playing on the TV. The song is pointed at all of his friends that turned on him. Then things got very interesting. He left the ice factory and started driving off in a truck, which is when all of us realized this wasn't a pre-recorded video. And Drake was live driving in Toronto. He played another song called Supermax, but that's when he started driving into downtown Toronto, where a mob of fans had followed him and surrounded his truck and gave him a ton of love. But there was one fan who started talking trash to him. So Drake responded to him with this.
So what that, big dog? Don't look away now. Don't look away now. Don't look away now. Don't get shot now. Well, fold that up right now. Hey, stop it.
Drake just had the funniest stream of all time. Before he played his new music,
Thoughts on the promo?
That's not what a rap artist should be doing.
Okay.
Like, why are you arguing with people on the street in Toronto? Like, I think there's a level of class that's not there that he should have by now.
Okay, that's a good take. I'm not mad at that take. I think we could go with one more clip.
Drake dropped a new spoken word poem at LeBron. It's called What Did I Miss? I think he's yelling at other people too. What Did I Miss is a terrible song title. There was a list that circulated last year, I don't know if you heard. It was the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you dress, the way you interact with women, the way you interact with other people's wives, the way you interact with your own children, the way you interact with gambling, the way you interact with alcohol, the way you interact with drugs, the way you stand by Sexy Red and serious competition. Outside of all that, the song is literally, there's a line where he's like, I saw bro at the pop-up, but he's been with me since headlines. They've moved on and you can't. They've moved on from you. This sounds like a bitter breakup. Is this a Drake-up? He did say he was doing what COVID did and that you would never get over this, but it's been over a year, man. It's glaringly obvious what you missed. They put it to a beat, so you would remember it. It's cadenced. I thought this battle wouldn't hurt and all that, and then I see you pop out with an album which there's no song that's an absolute standout. Nokia got notoriety because it was a single. And then this. We had like Kiki Do You Love Me, God's Plan, we had Headlines, we had Drake Summers, okay? No New Friends, I'm on one. Where is it, Drake? Where's it at? Drake dropped a new spoken word poem at LeBron.
What are our thoughts, Dr. Skorka? What does the doctor say?
I'm curious about that guy reporting from the forest, though. I was more distracted by...
It was a nature report.
Yeah, I was like, all right, who are you, dude? Again, we were ultimately saying that. Better music is behind him. He needs to let go of the beef and focus on making hits, not trying to go tit for tat for someone that's moved on.
Said, well, nicely said. I think we're still on our whimsical track with the topics. So another thing that Drake has been in the media lately for is his abs. How do you feel about ab sculpting? Are you familiar with the term?
Is this different than just having a six-pack?
It's similar. So ab sculpting, by definition, is... One sec, we almost had it. Abdominal etching, also known as liposculpture.
Oh, okay.
Is a surgical procedure where unwanted fat around the midsection is strategically liposuctioned from the and attempted to contour and showcase the abdominal muscles.
And this is men doing this as opposed to women?
This is men like Drake, for example, doing this. Clearly you're not familiar, so let's...
No, but I think women doing plastic surgery is not a new topic, so now we're just having men do it.
This is our photograph proof. So there's no confirmation. Drake's not like publicizing that he has this procedure done.
Okay. There's speculation that he did.
Right.
Okay.
What do we think? Do we think that those look like real abs, or do we think that they look like procedured abs?
I'm going to take a different route and say who cares one way or the other.
Or that.
Right? Because...
I feel like what you said earlier kind of pertains to this. It's definitely not rapper behavior to
It's not.
Not at all.
It's not.
It's not.
Right, it's not classy. But at the same time, who cares? Because if this is what I say about plastic surgery.
Okay.
If it makes you happy,
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
So if he felt like he needed to do ab sculpting and get that result, so be it. Who cares? Is it easier than taking what it takes to have the really intense discipline and diet and exercise to have body like that? Yeah.
Yes.
But there's shortcuts if you're willing to pay the price. So
that is true. However, the reason why it's a topic of discussion is because to people's eye, they look quote unquote laughable because they look so unreal. It's almost like getting a bad nose job or whatever. So I think that's why it may matter to people, because not only did you not work for it, it's very obvious.
Okay.
Or to some people, this is an unbiased opinion.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this question. If your husband were to get this procedure done, would you have the same I don't care method?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that in a relationship, everyone comes with baggage, right? So if someone has sensitivity around a certain topic and they're going to get a procedure done that is going to make them feel more confident and better, and it really doesn't affect the other person, so be it. Mm-hmm. He's not using our joint account for said surgery, right? Like, if that's his money and he wants to do that and that's going to make him feel good, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. But,
go ahead.
Right, there's a difference if he's taking pictures and then putting it out there for likes and comments. So again, that's a whole different, who are you trying to be is really what it comes down to.
Right, and unfortunately, it definitely, again, fuels, I've said this to different person, you're probably the first person I've had on here that kind of sees the Kendrick and Drake beef for what it was. Everyone else is just oh, Drake's Drake, blah, blah. And it's I'm usually that guy. I'm usually defending Drake, but, it comes to a point where it's too much to defend, or, too much, it's not equaling out, honestly, adding up. But I think this, then again, provides proof as to Kendrick's claims, you're not, who are you trying to be type of situation.
At the end of the day, money is one of the most democratic ways that you can show choice, where you choose to spend it. So if you're choosing to spend it on a cosmetic surgery that's just enjoyed by you, that's one thing.
That's one thing.
But if you're then promoting it and putting it out there as your image, then you have to take the good and the bad with it.
Now I gotta ask a quick question, because I noticed that when you said it, because you were when we said it, if this was your husband, you said you were before it, but then you mentioned if it's not coming out of our joint account, then it's fine. So what if it comes out of your joint account?
I don't think it should.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't get a cosmetic procedure and use our joint account for it. Gotcha. I feel like if I've always wanted liposuction, or I always wanted, I don't know, some type of Botox something or other, he shouldn't have to pay for that. Gotcha. That's a me thing.
Okay. You don't need it.
Thank you.
No problem. Now I have a quick little quip.
Yeah.
Quick little quip. Quick? That's a tongue
quick little quip.
No, you said quip.
What is it? What are we supposed to be saying?
Quick little clip.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to say quip. Quick little clip.
There it is.
Okay.
No, this one's 4 minutes, so you can tap out after 1 minute.
I think the thing for me that's worse than all of this, honest to God, is I looked on Instagram this weekend, and Drake posted a selfie.
That's worse.
It's worse than all this puff shit. There was
lock him up, Dano.
Alcohol.
Yo, you are stupid.
A rap bar, but beyond the weird rap bar and all of the alcohol, some of which was not good alcohol. The fucking stomach. Did you see these abs? Yes. I'm here to body shape Drake. That's why I came to work today. Those abs look ridiculous. And sometimes I wonder about self-awareness, and we all have things we don't see. Mm-hmm. I hosted Powwows. My suit button, they've been killing me about my suit button, right? You're right. Mel, what did you think?
Oh, that picture was...
Did you notice it on your own, without the comments?
I didn't even look at the comments. The first thing that I thought was ab etching. That's the first thing that I thought.
Well,
yeah, that's the first thing that I thought was ab etch. I mean, they might be, just him actually working out in the gym and
just abs, no arms, no shoulders, no back, no pecs, just abs.
You know what's funny?
Every day is ab cruncher all day.
I didn't notice anything else but the abs, because that just kind of jumps out at you.
So I didn't see the picture. I just saw the tweets about it, and it was trending. So then I went to the picture and looked, and I was thinking like, wow, like, is this like a I don't give a fuck thing, or is it I don't have the self-awareness of how this looks? And because I wonder, like, when you get powerful and rich enough, are there people that will tell you, like, yo, bro, take that pic down?
Drake plays that game where he know this is gonna get the people talking. He do the duck lip pose in the pictures. He know y'all are gonna talk about it.
Doing the abs for the rollouts.
If that is your thing, what are you?
Clout.
If that is your thing, what are you?
His answer was clout chaser. Would you call it? Would you think? Would you? It's very ironic, but would you consider Drake a clout chaser? Because he's like the king of, or was until like recently, like the king of popularity, the king of like everyone staying next to him. So to think of him as a clout chaser is kind of so ironic.
What I think is that...
Do you use that term? Because I feel like that was...
Clout chaser?
Yeah.
Do I use that term?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think when you talk about clout, I mean, I'm familiar with that and use that. I just think that he wants to show off his body, and the real question is why. He's a billionaire almost. He could have any woman in the world that he wants. He can have all this lavish lifestyle. Why does he feel the need to show us his abs? And is it clout? I don't think so. I think it's more to spark conversation. I think that's how he can stay relevant.
Right. Well, is that clout?
I don't think so.
Is clout just attention?
I think it's having like more than attention. It's having like root survival.
Root survival?
Yeah, like that you're planted down into the soil and you can stand on your own, regardless of the weather.
Okay. I feel like that was that, what would you call that, Miss English teacher? Was that an analogy or was that a metaphor?
Metaphor.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, are your roots deep enough that regardless of rain, snow, wind, hurricane, you can stand? I think that's deep set clout. And I don't think posting an ab picture speaks to that.
Now, would you compare your definition of clout to like reputation, like street cred?
Yes, except I think that there's a flash in the pan cred that can happen, and I'm talking about like Michael Jackson.
This gesture.
Prince impact, like
okay.
Legacy
impact.
Right. Versus being like a quick hit on Hot 97.
So you think, so when you say clout chasing, you think it's chasing a legacy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take it. Okay. So that's enough of Drake. I won't even touch, because Big Sean is another culprit, but I think we've had enough. Unless you want to see Big Sean's.
No, I don't care about Big Sean enough.
Wow, that's hurtful, but okay.
He's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Who else do you care about?
In the rap scene?
Yeah, in the rap scene. Or whatever scene, to be honest. The pop culture scene.
I don't know who I actually care about. I have to think on that.
Do you like Margot Robbie?
No.
Okay.
No.
You can't like Blake Lively. She's canceled.
No. No. I don't like a lot of people.
You gotta love Jennifer Aniston. She's America's sweetheart.
She's alright. I mean, these are all people that I feel like had their day.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. What about Sabrina Carpenter?
No, not a fan.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
Are you?
Sabrina Carpenter and low key Benson Boone, but he's been getting back.
Oh.
What about give me a new name that you like. Billie Eilish?
I do like some of Billie Eilish.
Okay.
Again,
Billie Eilish over Sabrina Carpenter is nuts. But the girlies now, the teeny boppers, would side with you.
Yeah. I'm kind of a snob. Yeah.
There's SZA.
I like her.
She's good. She's good R&B vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would need to go through my phone and see who I like, but...
That's fine. I like it. Good stuff. See, we got a nice little blend. It's a nice well-rounded...
Motley crew of topics here.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate you coming through for it, especially with the technical difficulties.
It did cool down in here, though. It's delightful.
Thank God. I don't know if it was because we turned off the lights or that...
No, we finally got that.
It did its job.
Yeah,
finally.
we got that going.
And you mentioned that you'd want to come back again. Just know it'll probably be after your
yes, it will.
Your new guest.
Yes, it will.
If you want to bring a friend to, I don't know if you're, I know you're very social, so I'm assuming you have like besties.
Yeah.
So feel free to bring one.
I would love to.
And that will be chat up a story.
You know who I want to bring?
Miss Laney.
Yes.
That's crazy. I got that.
Yeah.
Is that one of your besties?
Yes, she is.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that. Very cool. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So yeah, well you can bring her, and I'll have another guy. I'll bring a guy.
Fabulous.
Battle of the sexes.
I'll bring some friends. You bring some friends.
There we go. All right. So we got the Six God fake six pack. Diddy deliberations.
Oh my gosh.
Dun 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 dun. Any initial thoughts when you hear that? No Diddy.
I want him to serve some jail time.
Some?
Yeah.
Some people want him to serve all the jail time.
Well, I would love for him to serve all the time, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, definitely not when he was found not guilty on certain charges.
Right. The idea, though, that he's going to serve 20 years is not happening.
That also seems unlikely. But there will be some, definitely got to be some.
Yep.
But specifically, in the Diddy verdict, count 1, racketeering, not guilty. Count 2, trafficking of Cassie, not guilty. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution related to Cassie, guilty. Count 4, trafficking of Jane, not guilty. Count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution related to Jane, guilty. So he's really only guilty of
trafficking for prostitution.
Prostitution and but no trafficking, just prostitution for Cassie and the Jane Doe. So that seems like it would be like nothing, like prostitution. If
well,
it's
it
just
says up to 10 years for both, for the 2 counts.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So max is 20, but the truth is, I think he's going to end up getting something like 2 to 3 years.
Right, because I never heard of I don't hear them frequent prostitutes, but I've never heard of a prostitute going to jail for 10 years.
I just think that...
And none of the prostitutes are Diddy.
I just think that the case was a little too big for them to... Like, the footage of him throwing Cassie around the hotel is disgusting, right?
Absolutely.
But he's not on trial for any of that. Yeah. So I think that's the problem, is so much of the stuff that was, like, disgusting to see and hear has nothing to do with the charges. So there isn't teeth where there needs to be.
Right.
It's on the wrong stuff. And so I think he's going to end up with, 3 years.
I think that, I'm not a judge or the jury, but I think that video should have influenced a lot. Even though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, Clayton Howard, a male escort from the Diddy freak-offs, not my term, is suing Cassie and Diddy, alleging he contracted an STD from Cassie. He also claims that Cassie aborted his unborn child. That's honestly not what I meant to read, but...
Wow.
Fun fact. There was something I saw that was saying that Cassie should be tried the same way that Diddy is tried, because she was equally involved in getting the escorts, being a part of the escorts, the prostitution, and the whole nine. How do you feel about that?
No. I think she's getting a lot of bad hate unfairly. Right. Now, I get why people are annoyed because she went along with a lot of the stuff and they're feeling like she could have walked away. She could have broken up. Like, there was clearly toxicity to the relationship that we're never going to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But what people don't understand is when you're in an abusive relationship and you don't feel like you can get out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's being really downplayed. That,
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, should she have participated in as many things, but getting out, I think, was not as easy as people are making it seem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're judging her really harshly, and I don't think it's fair to do that. I think she was a victim.
Yeah, and Stockholm Syndrome is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And as always, I have a clip for you. And I just want to get your opinion.
Quick clip.
Quick clip. Diddy's fans with the baby oil outside the courthouse. What is our thoughts on that?
I think it's disgusting.
Okay, that's fair.
Here's why.
Here's why.
It's making humor of a disgusting situation where people were drugged, participating without consent. Like, it's making it a joke.
Right,
and I don't
lighthearted, yeah.
think we should be laughing about that. I think if we're going to be like, ew, that's gross in one scenario, and then celebrating with it or laughing about it, like, which is it? And to be fair, if you've done your research, HBO Max did a really great expose on Sean Combs that went all the way back to his childhood and interviewed some of his childhood friends and takes you through, like, his time at Howard and some of the stuff that happened that he got away with in college, and then this big concert that happened that was really controversial where people got stampeded, and then the stuff with the gun with J-Lo. Like, he's gotten a lot of latitude with the legal system, and I think that it really, speaking of legacies, tarnished my legacy of him in terms of I grew up loving a lot of his music, and I feel like looking at him now, I see a completely different man. That's really gotten away with a lot. And so when I see fans celebrating like that, I'm just grossed out.
It makes sense, but unfortunately that's unfortunately always going to be a demographic of just like either because they could have been paid to do stupid shit like that or whatever.
Yeah.
But people having like either a low IQ or low morality and whatnot, and are willing to be participants to like shift the narrative, or they just genuinely believe like they want him to be free or whatever. I feel like, in my honest opinion, I feel like that's very comparable to a lot of Trump supporters or MAGA supporters or whatever that say the most ridiculous things or co-sign the most ridiculous things. So like that is an example of them co-signing a super ridiculous thing.
Yeah, and it's again showing you that money gets you power and can get you like away with things, and the whole like hip hop industry promotes multiple women and parties and drugs and freak out. Like it does. And so at the end of the day, it's just kind of that surviving, that trope surviving.
Very interesting. Well, hopefully the man gets more than... Cause I saw another clip that was like just baffled at the fact that like the term of Diddy supporters. Mm-hmm. Because like how can you support him after everything you've seen thus far and whatnot?
Right.
But hopefully he gets the max sentencing that he can get with just the two that he's guilty of.
Yeah, I don't see him getting 20 years, but I hope that he at least gets a handful.
Exactly. And then hopefully the people, again, like kind of similar to what you were saying, like people are making light of the situation and whatnot, but I think it's to the detriment because it was, what I saw, it was the people that testified for him that they could be in possible danger with him getting out and whatnot.
Yeah, and a lot of his staff were bullied. They, endured a lot of negative treatment, and like I said, on this HBO Max, this chef that was berated and almost physically assaulted, like crazy stuff.
Yeah, It makes sense. He's a monster, and then people have like compared him to, like the Joker.
Yeah.
And then he was the Joker on Halloween and whatnot, but really and truly, he does have like a lot of sick tendencies. And
yeah. People can have two personalities. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Hopefully, it hasn't trickled down into his children because he got a son that is like looks just like him, acts just like him.
Yeah, I think he's got like 5 kids.
Right. He definitely has multiple kids,
Yeah.
but the one is like Diddy Jr.
Right. The one with Kim Porter.
Right. Exactly. Very interesting. And we are getting through these topics swimmingly. The last one that we have on the table is Ian's viral XXL freestyle. Ian is the name of a rapper, and XXL freestyle, I'm sure you're familiar with, is like their XXL freshman class and whatnot. They choose a handful of rappers, they rap ciphers and whatnot to show their talent, and they're like basically according to XXL, the next up rappers to look out for in the industry that's gonna make a big impact and whatnot. So this is.
Are we gonna see Ian?
We're gonna see Ian's freestyle.
Okay.
Where the hell it is?
And then are we deciding if it's good?
You're deciding if it's good. I already.
Oh, you already made up your mind?
Yeah, I already made my mind.
Okay.
Here we go. And you got good taste, so I already know what you're gonna say.
Okay. This opening looks like a weird seance.
Okay.
Walking that bitch like, how the hell y'all doing? How y'all feeling today? Ready to turn myself in down at the station. I made a killing today. Always gonna be money. Always gonna be hoes. Always gonna be something. Only thing you got is your word. I put that shit on my mama. No, you really just can't get comfy. Gotta keep at it, buddy. Before I had this money, wasn't worried about nothing. That shit feel backwards to me. He ain't always getting high. What happened to him? Ain't what happened to you? I'm the same I was. I'm just getting paid with a few more habits now. Oh, shit. Here we go again. Damn, I got this dime bitch. She just want to be my friend. Damn, you don't think Flo Rida here is going down for real? Damn, I'm a little too hot for this. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm on timing, bitch. You don't know what time it is? Oh, okay. Oh, you got migraines? You want to ride this shit? Oh, okay. Plug like goddamn. You really want every flavor? Oh, okay. You want a round dick, but you want to come crying, bitch? Oh, okay. Damn. It's getting hot in here. Take off all your clothes. Damn, I'm feeling like 50 Cent. Bitch, I'm in the club. Damn, I'm on my Britney shit. Oops, I hit again. Damn, I'm on my DJ Khaled shit. We the best. Damn, we rolling hella deep. I feel like Adele. Damn, kiss me through the phone. Suck me through the cell. Damn, I'm a little too high for this. Jesus, take the wheel.
I didn't like that at all.
How we feel? You don't like it at all?
No.
What don't you like about it?
What don't I like about it?
Yeah.
Everything. Okay. Let me try to be more specific. Okay, first of all, as I said, the whole group of like shadowed guys snapping, like that was creepy.
It was a dramatic effect.
Looked like a seance. And then like the as the beat. No. That wasn't memorable.
Okay.
Like, I've already forgotten half of the points, but it's like, okay, I'm talking about women. I'm talking about like other like nods, like Kiss Me Through the Phone, and like other people, like Nelly. There's like nods to other people. Like, what are you doing, Ian? That's original.
Gotcha.
So I didn't like that at all.
However, out of the, I think there's like 10 freshmen in the freshman class or whatever, that is the viral clip from the freshman cipher. Like, that was the most, like, I haven't even heard any of the other ones because that one keeps coming up.
He has a good voice in terms of sound. Like, he doesn't sound like anyone. He's got a little bit of a southern twang. I just didn't like what he had to say.
So he's got potential?
I think if he works on what he's actually rapping about, there's potential there.
Okay.
His voice is good and unique and memorable. What he just did for the last 2 minutes was not.
Now, why do you think that he's risen to fame if that's the case?
Because he's different in the weird seance opening. Like, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
But, yeah, not for me.
Not for me either. I agree. If you had to rate it 1 to 10.
If I had to rate it 1 to 10?
Yeah, we're going to rate it 1 to 10.
2.
2? Okay.
Why would you give it?
Give it a 1.
Okay.
Give it a 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it a 2 because I hope that he does better.
Right. I like it. That's coming straight from the educator too. It's funny. It's the clip where he's like, I wish I would have pointed out to you. He's saying like 3 bars that don't rhyme at all. Like it's like he feels like Adele, feels like DJ Khaled, he feels like Britney, like or whatever. And it's just like it's supposed to be a rap that part just doesn't rhyme. And like it went super viral. Like low key because of that, but TikTok's such a weird. You have TikTok,
yep.
I'm sure. TikTok's such a weird but like interesting place that they will make it viral because of
anomalies.
How bad it is, how you can turn it into a joke. It's funny or whatever the shit is. So very interesting, very very interesting. Some people say that the rap or hip hop is going in a downward decline. So hopefully that's not the case, but what do you think?
No, I don't think it's going in a rapid decline, but it's transitioned from the storytelling where I think it was at its best. You know, like my mom actually has some decent taste in rap music as well. And
look at that. It runs in the blood.
We were having a conversation about Notorious B.I.G. and she was like, it tells a story. And I think with storytelling comes imagery and memories. And like, I'm also like, I'm not a big Will Smith fan, but like Summertime is such a classic song because you literally can picture that story happening. Or like Ice Cube, It Was a Good Day. Like, tell me a story and I'm transported and I can see all of these things happening. When you turn on the radio today, like I like Sticky, like Tyler the Creator. I like that song a lot. It's it's not a story, but like it's catchy. Right. So it's like, I think it's appealing to different people.
I think there's a similarity or a parallel which you spoke on with the entitlement of children, and you kind of like touched on what sounded like instant gratification. Because storytelling, you have to have a decent attention span to listen to a song that is it tells a story.
Yep.
And it's dope. Like it usually is like one of the better songs in like out of music. But for someone who has a small attention span, like, what is this? I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to listen to a story. A lot of times now, I feel like as the generations go, especially with TikTok, they're just looking for the instant gratification in music, and whether it's like a super catchy beat or a catchy hook or whatever. If you have a catchy enough hook and a catchy enough beat, no one's really even caring about the verses, because sometimes the verses will be super short.
Right, like that. Even Dre and Snoop that put out their most recent album. I like a couple of the songs, but you're exactly right. They can tell stories. They're not. They're like appealing to the beat, the like 2.5 minute songs. Right. Like it's a different vibe.
Right. Well, hopefully we get back into the storytelling back, because like it's a lost art, but it's kind of undeniable. I like the fact that nowadays a lot of artists are leaning towards independency and whatnot, and not relying on the labels, because labels, if you're signed to a label as an artist, you're likely being pushed to push or put out the quote unquote fast food music and whatnot.
Exactly.
So it's very interesting.
It is.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
So that was our last topic.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like to say or discuss before we get out of here?
No, I want to say thanks for having me. It was a blast.
It was a blast. It will be even better the next time.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming, Miss Dr. Skorka. You are always welcome here, and you are always a pleasure to see and talk to.
Thank you. It was great getting to be a guest on your podcast.
Absolutely. And this was episode 52. Can't wait to get to episode 100 and 200 and 500 and all those different things. And there'll be different mics and lights and cameras. And until then, gotta keep taking one day at a time. And that is a wrap.
Bye, everyone.
Crap.